Well, good afternoon, everybody, and happy holidays. You were asking for a transfer portal quarterback under the Christmas tree. Christmas came early for you. There he is, Jim Scarcelli, joining us here on this Monday. Scar, how are you?
Yeah, Danny, those were my exact thoughts, man. Christmas came early. I like this kid. When I was researching him before we were going to play him game one, I saw what he did last year. He started he started about 24 games, and the kid went to Purdue last year. His first start, they beat Purdue. He's played in the big house. He played at the big house. So that is exactly what I want when we go to Oklahoma game 2. We got a guy that is accurate. He's everything I've talked about. He's not the tallest kid, though, but he's accurate and he's athletic. He'll avoid the rush. He'll keep a drive alive. Third down, protection breaks down. He'll run around and make plays. He's going to go into Oklahoma with some big steel cojones, Denny. He ain't intimidated. So they got the kid from Washington State, Oklahoma did, and now we got our guy. So now it's going to be, let's call. Another thing I like about him, Denny, he goes by Mikey. We've done well with guys named Mikey. Sanistril, Keene. So, and he worked with this kid. This guy worked under Keene worked under Malzone at UCF. So he has worked with our offensive coordinator. You think some of this stuff is coincidence? I don't know if all this stuff is coincidence. Oklahoma hires the offensive coordinator from Washington State. A week later, they get the quarterback. We got a guy has a connection with Keene. You just wonder, if some of those things aren't. Is it just coincidence? But I'm fired up because he's exactly what I wanted. To get to. He's a one-year guy. Get our other guys ready and. Yeah, it's everything I want. He can run and he's accurate.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it a little bit more. We'll also talk about the playoffs, the 12-teamer that unfolded over the weekend. You had some bowls. Michigan obviously is included in those. Are starting to come more fast and furious as the days unfold here, the holiday week. But we are talking about Mikey Keene, who picks Michigan. And yeah, so I don't think it's any coincidence at all. But I want to tell everyone out there that if they're looking for that late Christmas gift for the Michigan fan in their life, look no further than the screen that you're looking at right now. And it says the Maize and Blue Review. You see Jim Scarcelli down there in the left corner. If you're just listening to this in the podcast, what we're doing is telling you that this is a great stocking stuffer, the best stocking stuffer, the gift of Michigan, the gift of the Maize and Blue Review. And you can give instant access today, or you might want to wait till Christmas Day. Some people, I don't know, Scars might be a Christmas Eve type giver. We'll see. But join the Maize and Blue Review now by going to michigan.rivals.com. Yeah, I don't know how much of a runner he is. He can move around a little bit. Mikey Keene, 5'11". He was at, you mentioned UCF for 2 years. Chip Lindsey was there, Michigan's offensive coordinator, when Keene was there, and then at Fresno State. And he was the starter this year in the opener against Michigan. So you're saying that you think this is a very nice bridge. And if you had to predict right now, you think that Keene would probably be the starter in game one.
We've heard good things how Bryce is coming along. But, Danny, I put myself as a senior on the football team next year. Okay, these guys want to win a championship. Gio, El Hadi, Barham's coming back, Hausman, these dudes, they want to win a championship, man. Okay, they don't want to be a part of a rebuild to get the freshmen ready. I mean, listen, it could happen. It normally doesn't happen. I'd rather go to Oklahoma with a guy who's been there and played on the road at nasty places, who starts about 24 games, and that's just how I feel. I'm thinking about those seniors that they don't want to be part of no rebuild. They want to be, let's go. We're ready to go. We got our guy. He's proven, and that's just my thoughts on it, man. He's got that little cheesy mustache too, Denny. I kind of like that. I kind of like that little look. But listen, Gus Malzahn knows quarterbacks, okay? And this guy, Gus Malzahn, recruited him. So, but yeah, and we're gonna. I look more and more at Lindsey, Denny. Chip Lindsey likes to run his quarterback. So now I think, listen, that gives us a good situation with some of the. We're going to have a totally different quarterback room, more depth. So the ability, the riskiness of running a quarterback is like, hey, we're going to have more depth. If something happens, we put our 5-star in there. So, but I'm fired up about it, Denny.
Yeah, well, it's not a totally different quarterback room because Davis Warren's there and he played and started. He'll start the bowl, but and Jaden Davis is still in there, but we're thinking he's still going to be in there, but he didn't play at all. But Keene does bring the experience. He's played in a lot of games. He's had some starts, and I look at it. I believe that the quarterback room is much better than last year. I think everybody has that, and at the very least, it's that he's depth. And you're going to have to be able to handle. You're going to have to be able to handle it. And the thing about handling it is, I'm sure that Sharon Moore and Chip Lindsey told Mikey Keene, hey, you can come in here and compete, and we're going to play the best guy. You're talking about the seniors. They want to see the best guy. But every Michigan fan out there, I don't know, 99% of them, they all want to see Bryce Underwood in the first game. And if Keene is the starter, there's going to be a little bit of eternal groan, but I think people, will say, okay, well, we'll give this kid a shot. Underwood, he'll be here sooner than later. But if the kid doesn't, his first incomplete pass, people are going to be wanting Colin.
Okay, let's see how Bryce Underwood does in the spring game. Like, I listened to you. You had 3 legends on the other day: Wangler, DeFelice, and Diorio. And John talked about, throwing against Brighton High School is different. Listen. I mean, God's been there, and I get it. Listen, man, we have faith. The kid's John talked about everything on the hoof. He looks like everything. He could be, a great pro quarterback. But let's just let him develop. Let's see how he does in the spring, and then we'll start pounding the table for him to be the guy. But let's see how it plays out, man.
Yeah, and we just look at history. There have been quarterbacks that have started, game one, but you look at the last one who is highly thought of. A guy like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence didn't start his 5th game. Now he did have a senior in Kelly in front of him, but it wasn't like they just immediately put him in there. They played him a little bit, but.
Denny, it's competition, man. Harbaugh talked about it all the time. A meritocracy, baby. We got a quarterback room. You don't want to compete? Don't come to Michigan, man. Don't roll in down State Street, because there ain't nothing but competition happening over there at Schembecker Hall. If you don't want to compete, because let me tell you, we got 3-4 dudes competing at quarterback. We got the same thing at center, guard, tackle, tight end. There's a bunch of dudes that are highly recruited that want to play, and there's competition at every single position. So it's a much better situation now, man. So I'm just confident that this kid's proven, and we'll see how it plays out. But it's a better situation for us, better room.
Yeah, as this situation played out, it was pretty obvious that Michigan wasn't going to get any big time signal caller in that wanted to compete with Bryce Underwood for a lot of reasons. You're talking about a championship, but if you're a player, if you're a quarterback out there right now, we'll take Mateer, who you mentioned at Washington State. His offensive coordinator went to Oklahoma. Michigan will see him in game 2. Mateer was going to a place where he was pretty much promised to start from game 1. And if you were a quarterback out there that thought about, well, you got to fend off a local legend in Underwood, you're thinking that, is this a championship team? And since Michigan was not looked, this year they took that big gigantic step back, it would be hard if you were a transfer quarterback to say, oh, I'll go to Michigan because I want to get to the college football playoff. I know that's the idea, and I expect Michigan to be in the college football playoff next year, but I'm not sure a transfer quarterback was saying, all right, I'm going in and I'm winning a championship at Michigan. There are a lot of other paths there And I do think not just that he's a highly thought of. There's every year there's highly thought of quarterbacks. I mean, not at Michigan, there's not. But and if you go and look, there's not there. It's much less frequent that these guys stay at home. And if you look, I was looking through over the last 10 years. Quinn Ewers was from Texas. Now he started at Ohio State, then he went back to Texas. But most of these guys, like Ewers, he went to Ohio. You look at Arch Manning. He didn't stay in Louisiana or wherever he was at. These guys are the guys that are California. All of them. They're most of them, if not all of them, they're going out of state. And so I think those factors, all of that factors in.
Hey, Denny, this kid, I guarantee you, he's coming to Ann Arbor and he thinks he's going to start. I guarantee you that. He doesn't. He's confident he's going to start. That's first of all the mindset of there. And then you said you're not going to get a good court. Okay, who are the better? What transfer quarterbacks that were in the portal are overwhelmingly better than this kid? The kid at Washington State. I watched them both. They're pretty similar, man. I know the Washington State kid had a little higher rating, but they're both small, accurate, tough guys that can run. Okay, and who the kid from Maryland? Okay, yeah, we wanted him. He's a little bigger, a little tougher. Is he as good a thrower as this kid? I don't know. So if you talk about the Maryland kid, the Washington State kid, the guy we got, who are the other guys that you make it sound like we just got a lamb chop over here that nobody wanted? Yeah, who are the other big time portal guys that we missed on that you think are overwhelmingly better than this kid? I think we did great today.
Yeah, well, Moss was clearly
can't run, man. I'll take this kid. I'd rather have this guy.
Okay. Hey, look,
I'm just telling you how I feel. I want a guy that can avoid the rush, so that if we get pressure, how many times did JJ bail us out with feet? I want to have a guy that on third down, if there's a free runner, we got a guy with some athleticism that can make something happen. We can run our RPO, quarterback keep stuff, and make them have to defend it. Listen, I've been watching Malzone a long time. We're going to have quarterback run. They wanted this kid because he can run too.
Yeah, I didn't see much of the running. To me, I saw him. I didn't watch him play at UCF against Florida in the bowl game. I watched him play against Michigan, and he can throw the ball. That's good, but he also looks pretty rich. He's thrown a couple picks too. So he looks to me like a shorter version of Davis Warren, which I like Davis Warren, here and there, but I don't know. This is not. I don't think Underwood. I think if the plan, if you're thinking, we want Underwood sooner rather than later, I don't think Keene's going to make more than 3 starts.
Okay, Denny, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea, but I just know right. I like the fact that we have some talent. We upgraded our talent, and there's competition there, and we're in a great situation. If Bryce is the guy game 3 or 4, then he's the guy. If he's the guy game 1, he's the guy. Let's just let's see how it plays out, man. But I'm real happy with this addition, man.
All right, let's take some of the feedback, Scar. You can add something to any of these. You can just move on from them. Wolverine, Ohio wanted Mendoza. I saw a couple lists out there. This Mendoza, he was ranked as the, I think, top portal quarterback. So that's why.
Well, Denny, a lot of it has to do with, we've got Chip on board and he knows this kid. They got a relationship.
That's a good point. Great point.
So he knows, Chip knows about this kid that, all the little things that we don't know about Mendoza. So he knows the team guy, the character, the toughness, the mental, he knows all those questions. So, we don't have to answer that. So that's probably why, they really, this happened, I think.
Yeah. Fernando Mendoza played for Cal. Let me get a couple others in here. Antoine says that Underwood scared off some people. Now he wants to see Jaden Davis against Alabama. I want to see Jaden Davis versus Alabama too, but it's more about just what, you want to see. He's actually got to go out there and he's got to do something where he shows that he deserves that he could possibly compete. And if not, they're not just going to put him out there just to see. What do you think goes into that decision? I mean, he's
going to win the game, man. They're going to try to win the game. You got all these guys playing their last football game. This ain't no scrimmage, man. Those dudes have been practicing 15 practices. They ain't going down there to play some games. And this kid, listen, we just beat Ohio State. We didn't score a lot of points, but if we did it with Davis Warren, I don't know why. If we hopefully we get the opportunity to get him in the game, but I think they're trying to win the football game, and that's, I don't see them going against what they did to beat Ohio State.
Yeah, it would be quite the turnaround for Jaden Davis. I would love to see it, that Sharon Moore comes out and says, Davis has just really progressed, and he's really pushed Davis Warren. And so, I would like to hear something like that, but there's been no indication that we will actually hear something like that. Morris says Keene is a gunslinger, which is a completely different play style than Bryce. And WIO says that's the main issue. I don't know. Do you think it's a completely different play style, gunslinger?
Is he an accurate passer? That is he athletic? That's they've obviously evaluated those things. Can he throw an accurate ball? He'll adjust our system. He'll learn to hand the damn football off when we just run our power people. So Zoom 47 said he'd rather have Finn. I liked Finn. I seen Finn play in high school. I would have been real happy with Finn too. That would have been a great situation too. Local kid. I don't know what went into those decisions, man. So we'll see. I thought this Keene kid had enough athletic ability to avoid the rush. I'll have to take a closer look. One of our comments just said he can't run. I thought it was athletic enough to at least keep some, make some people miss.
Andre says all the stop gaps were about the same. They're senior stop gaps for a reason. They're not going to be NFL draft picks. I doubt there was anyone the fan base would be jumping for joy over.
It's an insurance policy to add competition to the room. We don't know how it's going to play out, man. These guys are going to have, the count. It starts now, man. They're going to be throwing in 7-on-7s in January, February, and them coaches are going to be looking at these kids, and then 15 spring practices, and these guys are going to be sized up, and then they got all June, July, and all the different stuff they do, and we don't know, man. Them coaches are going to see it. We do not know, and we just have to have faith that these guys, put us in a good position, a lot better room than we had last year, better position than we had this past year.
They better be. I ask myself the question, would I rather have had no Bryce Underwood? Because if Michigan didn't have Bryce Underwood, well, they could have had Johnny Mateer. They could have had Miller Moss. They could have had one of these 5 stars like at Oklahoma that wasn't working out. They could have grabbed him. You would have a much bigger name and a whole different, different.
We don't know that, Denny. We don't know that. You're under the assumption that a kid like Mateer and the best kid available is afraid of Bryce Underwood. I don't know if that's true. We don't know that. You're assuming that.
Yeah, we do.
No, you're assuming that. I don't know that this kid, that those guys didn't want to come here because they're afraid of him.
Would you, if you were a quarterback, these guys aren't. They understand. They want money, but they want playing time, and they want to win a championship.
Well,
and
Michigan also know this.
Michigan might have had. I don't even know how much money after they went with Underwood. But if Underwood was. If he was from California and he was at Michigan, it would be a little bit different. If Michigan was in the college football playoff and they had Underwood, people would be like, hey, I'm going to play for a championship, compete. They don't have those things. Right now, the only thing they have is a 1 year, and everybody's like, if I was his agent, I would say, you don't want to go to Michigan. Those guys, everybody's going to be calling and chanting Underwood's name from the first. They are doing it now.
Okay, well, listen, I wouldn't want a guy. If I'm Sharon Moore, I don't want Mikey Keene if you're intimidated and you don't think you can win the starting job. I don't want you. So if I'm sitting there in that office, I've been in that office.
Yeah.
That he's got. Okay. if I'm sitting there and I sense any kind of doubt that this kid doesn't think he can be the starter, I don't want him.
All right, a couple more on the feedback, Scar, then we'll get to the Bulls here.
Well, I know Antoine thinks it's about getting our players ready, but you got to try to win this game, Antoine. I don't want. I know what it is to walk out of that a bowl game locker room crying and seeing the seniors crying because they lost their last game. We want to win the game, and coach, whatever coach believes is the best guy to help us win that football game. Then just have a damn scrimmage. Otherwise, you got to try to win the game.
I think things have changed. Scar, if we'd be sitting here 4 years ago, I would have said absolutely the springboard to the offseason. It's about winning this game. It's everything. But the game has changed. And the game now, with the amount of people that are out and the guys that are coming in, this is, these bowl games, it's one of the products of having a 12-team playoff is that year after year, what we have seen over the last 5 years, that the other bowl games just continue to get watered down, meaningless. This is a scrimmage. This is a glorified scrimmage. And I'm more.
I disagree with you, man. Those guys are trying to win, man.
I know they are. I think they are. Sharon Morris said that. But I think that this is a transition period. And let's call it like it is now. Like, I'm going to use your line. I'm just keeping it real with you, Scar.
I know, but Danny, listen, it's obvious that every coach in the country that's playing in a bowl game has to re-put his puzzle together. Everything's changed. He's got different parts. He's got to find a way to keep it together based on what's left. Okay, they're picking up the bones. What's left? Graham's gone. This guy's gone. This guy's coming back. Blah blah blah. So who's going to do a better job of it? And if you're just going to treat it like a scrimmage, I don't know, man. I just think these guys are going to try to win. And but I got a lot of good stuff on here, Danny. A couple other little topics to get into, man.
Okay, well, let's go ahead. And so the next thing is what the bowls that we're looking at, the college football playoff over the weekend. Give me your thought on the college football playoff.
Well, I just think. Looking at some of those games real quick, Ohio State, Tennessee, we got a damn good defensive coordinator. Okay, Tennessee, I don't know. You saw the blueprint. They're playing man coverage on number 4 and letting that dude run around. It's all that the big difference in that game is we had Wink and they didn't. We kept them to 10 because we had a scheme, Denny. So that's that with that.
Let me follow up on that, Scar, because I think when I was watching the game, this was the hot topic on the internet. There was a hot topic at the poker party that I was at. Somebody said if Ohio State called the same game that they did against Tennessee, they did against Michigan, they would have beat Michigan.
We didn't give them the opportunity to.
Well, I'm just saying,
scheme, man. We're not.
That's the narrative.
Well, they don't know what they're looking at, man. Wink ain't playing man to man, leaving dudes by themselves with number 4. I mean, come on, man.
That's what I said, Scar.
Wink had a whole different plan. He's like, look. He sat down with his defensive coaches and they said, look, we ain't letting this super freak beat us. Okay, we're gonna take away their best run plays. We did that. We've been working on that for 365 days. So anyway, listen. Our players we got damn good players, and our offense controlled the football. Tennessee got that. They want to run a play every 12 seconds and then punt the damn football. Anyway, that's that.
I want to say something about it, though, because I think you're right. I think that people not giving not any credit. It was Michigan's defense and what they did, but there were two things that I thought with watching that is that, like, watching Ohio State as the game wore on against Michigan, Ohio State was the team that looked shook. They look like they, were rattled. Day was rattled. The crowd turned on them, and you could tell that had an effect. And that's a credit to Michigan.
Yeah, that's right. We rattled them, Denny. We got in their head. We stuffed their run game. They didn't do, it ain't about their mind. We took their run game and stuck it up their ass.
Yeah,
but the best receiver, and we defended them.
Tennessee, in the same regard, they look rattled. They look cold.
Well, whatever. They had a bullshit scheme too.
Well, yeah, that's right. Their helmets were broke. They sang Rocky Top one time in the first half, and so looking at that, that's what I thought.
Anyway,
And one other thing on there is that Michigan, and this is a credit to Michigan too. There's no doubt that Michigan is in Ohio State's head. Whatever they were thinking, they get out there. It's like they're spooked. They're spooked with Michigan. They can't even look at a block M. They got to X them over. They're scared. He didn't know what to do. He's talking about this is life or death. He's going to die if
Denny, I disagree, man. I think Mason Graham stuffing dudes, Kenny Grant launching dudes, Moore kicking everybody's ass, Josiah Stewart beating everybody's ass, Wink with a great scheme. That's the issue. It ain't about what's in their damn head. It's about the way we frickin' went in there with great players, great scheme, and it took care of business. The hell with their mind, man. Anyway, Indiana played dumb. They should have been in that football game. They made mental mistakes they hadn't made. That was discouraging to see that. Penn State, SMU, man. I thought maybe that SMU quarterback, they might have got to him. The bookies might have got to him the way he was throwing interceptions out there, because they had a chance to really compete in that football game. They were running it. They were stopping them. And but that was my thought out the Penn State game. And then Texas and Clemson. Clemson, I took the under in that game. I thought they would defend them better. Clemson just doesn't have – Texas is just too big and strong. But that's my take on the games that played. If you want to know my thoughts on the games coming up, we can get into that. Unless you want to.
I do. What I would like to also do is just give you two thoughts. Everyone, I thought that the college football committee headed up by Ward Bingham did a good job getting the 12 teams in there. And Alabama, they should have beat Oklahoma if they wanted to be in there. They don't really have a leg to stand on. Sure, Ole Miss is probably better than Indiana, all those things. But South Carolina is probably better than. But they didn't deserve to be in there. Indiana actually did. But they didn't get the seeding right. They made the automatic bids when there were 5 power conferences. Now they're 4. Boise and Arizona State should have never had these buys. That's one, the seeding. They need to adjust that. I would also say in this next round, I heard that Notre Dame realized $40 million for the game with the tickets and the surrounding area and everything else. That's really nice to get a college football playoff game with the amount of money that you're able to charge with the parking and the concessions and the surrounding area. It's a really nice thing to have. I think that this next round, they need to adjust it, and they need to give these teams in the next round, they should also be playing them at home sites. And I just want you to tell me, Scar, this is the way the first round should have looked. It should have been Boise at Indiana, SMU at Tennessee, Arizona State should have been at Ohio State, Clemson at Notre Dame. Now, it doesn't always work like this, but it did this time. And if you can advance it, this week it should be Oregon hosting Indiana in Eugene. They should be in Athens. Georgia and Tennessee should be playing. Texas should be going to Ohio State, and Penn State should be going to Notre Dame. That's what I think when it comes down to the adjustments.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there, and I just know looking at it, because I was faced this stuff as a high school coach. I know everybody in the country that made that playoff would be licking their chops for Boise State. I want Boise State. That's the first game I want is Boise State. Then you want SMU, and then you want Indiana. Everybody would be looking at those guys that don't have the great players. I mean, it's a joke that Oregon, the number 1 team in the country, somehow now they got to play Ohio State. Who, if you look at a talented roster, I don't want to play Ohio State if I'm Oregon. But
so let me run through those, Scar. You said Penn State, they're going to be taking on Boise, and they're a double-digit favorite.
Yeah, Boise, listen, thing about Boise, they gave Oregon a game, but the thing about Boise, Denny, those teams that people have to understand, they only got to get up, really, really get up 2 or 3 times a year. Okay, you try let Boise try playing in the Big Ten, where you got to play every damn week. Anyway, Penn State will D the hell out of them. They'll stuff that run game. And that Penn State could beat that team good, because now, but then again, it's the one game. If Boise was to get them, it's the following week. Can you play again? You know what I mean? But I like Penn State stuffing their run game. Penn State's going to probably move on. What's the next game? Texas.
Arizona State.
Yeah, Arizona State won't have many positions at all that could start for Texas, but they do have a hell of a quarterback. They got a good coach. Their quarterback, I don't know why that Michigan State guy let him go. He's damn good. He's accurate. He's fast. He's tough. At that position might actually be a push because he can move. But Texas will be too big and strong. I don't see Arizona State's defense stopping them. They could beat that. That could be a 42-20 game, 42-17 game.
I like Arizona State's running back, but I agree with you. And Texas is a 14-point favorite in that one, so that's a big spread.
Yeah, they just got Texas is too big and strong, and then Ohio State and Oregon.
Ooh, rematch. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you gotta take the Buckeyes, man. They to play them as tough as they did in Oregon, which is a tough place to play. Ohio State's got momentum. They seen it. I think they got better players. But Oregon's got anyway. I just like them because I think they were so close playing them over at their place, and Ohio State's got some momentum. And then the last I don't like for Oregon, they have to play them again. And then the last game is Notre Dame against Georgia's backup quarterback,
right?
Who's more of an athletic kid. Notre Dame has one of the best quarterbacks in the deal left, and they've got two good coordinators, man. What's his name? Al Golden. Freeman hired some damn good coordinators. Al Golden was brilliant against Indiana. So that game, I might go with the quarterback and Al Golden because Georgia's not going to overwhelm Notre Dame talent.
All right, so that's going to be an upset then because Georgia's the slight favorite.
Yeah, I think I'd take Notre Dame because of the quarterback and Notre Dame's defense. I like that. And the quarterback isn't there, man.
Yep, I hear you. All right, that's good. So the other thing that we're going to get to is a little bit of Alabama.
Danny, let me go over some other things real quick. I just want to make some quick comments because I do look at the comments of our listeners. I made a comment about Rich Rod. This is the only problem I have with Rich Rod. He got hired, he failed, but then he had a bunch of excuses. I don't mind that you came here and you took a bunch of money and you lost. I'm not blaming you for that, but he had a bunch of excuses, and that's all I want to say about him. It was the excuses after he left. That's it. Okay, the next thing is I want to real quick. Bowles' kid is coming. Todd Bowles' son. Hopefully, Denny. He hadn't got much time at Georgia.
This is a lot of times.
Listen, there's no. There's no shame in not playing your first 2 years at Georgia. Okay, Georgia's got they recruited some damn good football players. So hopefully he can jump in and make it happen here. Smart kid. You gotta be smart to play linebacker for us. Danny, I want our listeners got to understand something that just happened. And you ain't even talked about it. And this is a huge thing, is Juan Castile just got hired by Michigan as a offensive analyst.
Yeah.
Juan Castile is the legendary offensive line coach. Go ahead and Google his history, listeners. Juan Castile, he's a Jim Harbaugh guy. Or John Harbaugh. He goes way back with John Harbaugh. I think they might have worked at Philadelphia together. John brought him in with the Ravens for a while. He worked with my buddy Andy Moeller. Anyway, this guy's a legend. Okay, he is on Michigan's staff as an analyst. He worked at Michigan just for a couple of years with Sharon. So Sharon would have worked with him, I think, in 2019. Anyway, I'm just going to say this. I don't want to just speculate, but someone might be leaving. I just wonder. I mean, I don't think he's ever worked as an analyst. I'm just wondering, but it's a great addition for us. The guy is a legendary offensive line coach, and I'm real happy about that. A couple other things, Denny. Belichick's kid is going to North Carolina. That's of interest to us because we play Washington again, and he was the DC there, so that's kind of good for Jed. He's got to start over.
I also saw Belichick got a quarterback, the freshman that was playing at Purdue this year is going there. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I see Bill's bringing some guys in, man.
Yeah.
What else? I talked, Denny, real quick about Ryan Day. One of our comments were about Ryan Day. I would like Ryan Day to stay, but I'd like to see Jim Knowles get a job, Denny. Jim Knowles is good. I have a great deal of respect for Jim. Their defense, he got it right with his defensive coordinator. I wish someone would hire him and that he would leave. And Michigan State lost a defensive back, Danny, a starter, a good player to Miami. The Canes got some money. The little dude got out of jail. He got, what's his name? The
little dude got out of jail. I don't know.
Biden just let him go. What's his name? The guy that put him on. What's his name with all the money? You bling bling. You know who I'm talking about. Maybe he's back in action, spending money now.
Okay.
You know,
Hunter Biden? I'm just kidding.
No, the kid that was at Miami. I can't think of his name, but
I hear you. He was in 2 Live Crew.
Yeah, that dude. Anyway, it's always good when Michigan State is losing starters to someone else. That's a great sign for us. So I wanted to talk about that. And Denny, I just want to say this. If I'm coaching at Michigan, and I know this, I want to do anything and everything in my power to find out if Jalen Milroe is playing in this football game. Everything in my power, because if he doesn't play, their offense is drastically different.
Sure.
Drastically different if this kid doesn't play. They, anyway, that's just something I hate to sound like that I would do something unethical, but I would have somebody hanging around Tuscaloosa if I'm coaching it. I'm just walking around, talking to people, trying to figure out. I wanted to talk about that real quick, Otis. Barham. Denny, this is the deal with Barham.
All right.
Barham in the edge position. I talked about it as a crazy decision a couple of weeks ago because you hate to have a guy start all over, but you got to understand this about the edge. The edge guys are the highest paid. I bet any money that went into some of his thinking with Wink, with Sharon Moore. I'll come back for another year, but the kid is he's got a big frame. He's a 6'4", 240-pound, big, strong. He's got the frame more of an edge player. So they talked to him, and he hasn't played. It's a different. I played him in both. They're different, man. Inside backer is different than playing on the edge. Yeah. On the edge, now you got to take on big tackles, reach blocks, big tight ends, reaching you right now at the line of scrimmage. You're rushing the quarterback more. You got to contain the quarterback. The drops are drops. He's already proven he can do that. But I think some of that decision is money that he could make long term. I think I would bet edge players have a longer shelf life in the NFL, but they will coach him up. They played him out there a little bit this year, and that gives us a great edge room if we have Moore, TJ Guy, Barham, and Brandt. That gives us 4 guys that have played a hell of a lot of football. Yeah. And that position will be as good as anybody in the Big Ten. But I like the decision. Now we gotta, they must have a lot of faith in what we got at linebacker. I bet that freshman plays, man. I bet you that kid plays, that freshman, that 5-star kid.
Otang, yeah. I think so too. And Wink, when he did blitz, he loved sending Barham on that blitz, and maybe he just liked how he, was able to get after the quarterback too. I kind of just pictured him out there. I think your point about him wanting to go and play edge because of the money part is a great point. Wink liked to send him on a blitz a lot too.
Yeah, but it's different, Danny. You got to play at the line of scrimmage. You got to use your hands. You got to come off blocks. You're playing reach blocks. It's a totally different deal, that you're working with guys on. So,
Scar Treppa has an idea about if you want any clandestine stuff going on down in Tuscaloosa. He thinks maybe the Connor Stallions could maybe dress up.
We got to get a different guy. Everybody knows him. We got to find another dude, man.
He's pretty good with disguises, though.
Maybe Treppa can go down there, man. Put him. But yeah, Danny, I'm just going to keep it. If I'm coaching Michigan, I got somebody's hanging around Tuscaloosa. I got to know if this guy is going to. And you're right, Antoine. Cole Sullivan they probably got a lot of faith in him. So they have faith in our linebacker room. To make that, to move him out there. Rolder is going to have a great year. You're right. There's some guys in there that can play, and they brought in Bowles. But, Yeah, Denny, a big thing is going to be reps in the bowl game. How do you give reps in the bowl? Because this is interesting. I'm not going to say this because now everybody wants to know about Bryce Underwood, Davis Warren, Jaden Davis. Okay.
Yeah.
The coaches have to give reps with the first, second team offense through practice. That's going to be real telling. How many reps do they give Underwood? Because Jaden Davis is going to be watching all of that, to get a feel for, am I going to have a real chance to compete if they start blowing up my reps and giving them all to someone else? So it's just something that we don't know the answer to, but it's important. I'm telling you right now, it's important.
I love it. You're on top of it. Sorry, you brought your fastball today. You're just buzzing the batters. I throw something out there. You're ready to. You're not just falling in line, man. You've got your opinions on things, and you're using your wealth of experience to back it up. I enjoyed it. What do you watching? You watching these other bowl games? You just you're going to be.
I'm a nut, man. I'm a crackhead. I'm a college football nut. I got it all going on, and then it's just the Lions. But yeah, I'll be watching and betting live and trying. I think it's tough. I've done well betting these bowl games in the past, but you got to be, unless you have information, it's just crazy, man. It's hard to figure out who's what. There's some game. I actually bet. I took the under in the Fresno game because I took Northern Illinois early on. Because I had a feeling when because I heard Keene's name about 3 weeks ago. I bet for Northern Illinois about 3 weeks ago because I heard Keene possibly getting in the portal. So there's no way he's playing in the game if he was in Ann Arbor. No way. So they're going to have. So I think I have Northern Illinois. I got the under on that. The Washington State game, I bet the under also.
Let me ask you.
I knew their quarterback wasn't going to play too.
Let me ask you something that's off the beaten path of Michigan football. The pros, the Lions, two things. One, I want to ask you how you think they're going to do now with all these injuries. Do you still like them to get to the Super Bowl, to get the 1 seed? But the other part is, what did you think about that? The play call, the two drunken Lions, the fall down. They got Gibbs falling down.
I love it, Denny. Denny, that's coaching, man. All warfare is based on deception. I've said it 100 times. Sun Tzu, the guy is brilliant. You have to do the little things to fool the enemy. If you're going to just try to be vanilla all the time and just do the guy, Dan Campbell, he gave Ben Johnson, he said, look, man, go have at it. You got it. And he goes down into his lab and he comes up with stuff. And I know I looked at that play a couple times, and that's what I hope our Chip does, is bring the little bit of chaos, a little bit of confusion to help our offensive linemen. Because if you're just damn vanilla all the time, defenses see it. But that play was brilliant. It was brilliant because the guy who had to cover the tight end, who ended up was wide open, he bought it just for a second. Just for a second, he looked at Goff. He saw Gibbs diving on the ground, and he didn't know what was up, and he took his eye off the tight end. It was a brilliant design. But yeah, I that's what I want in our offensive coordinator. That's a no risk. It's not a risky thing.
No, it wasn't a risky thing.
It's just deception, man. It's all deception, and that's what you want from your offensive system. It's like, how can I fool the enemy without being high risk?
Right. What a great play. That's the best point about all of it. It wasn't any risky thing. Gibbs wasn't involved in that, and even though it looked like Goff was tripping, he was faking it. So that really wasn't happening. I loved it. It reminded me of two things. One is that there's so many times when I'm watching guys get punts or kickoffs, and they kind of fumble it. It's on the ground, and they screw it up. The guys that are running down, they get out of their lane.
Okay, teams actually do that. That's actually a kick return scheme that people have done. So you make the return guy just bobbles it for a second.
Yeah,
and then and then throw it. I've seen a lot of that stuff. And
they break stride. Yeah. They all of a sudden, that's the other thing is reminding me of one of those. Michigan did it with Drew Henson and Tom Brady. I think they did it against Penn State, where Brady acted like he was hurt, or it was Henson, one of the two, act like they were hurt, came to the sideline, and they put the other one in there, or something. There was one of those deception things. Of course, he wasn't hurt, and it worked.
All, that's football, man. You got to try to fool them sometime. You can't just knock them off the ball, Danny.
There was a video in basketball once. It was a high school game, but the guy was inbounding the ball underneath. It was a pretty critical part of the game, and the one guy on the team, they line up, and the guy got down on all fours. He started barking like a dog, and everybody kind of looked out at him. They threw the ball. The guy put it right up and in. Yeah, that was some deception there.
All right, Danny, we ready for the film?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
All right, look, I been looking at this team here some more, and again, so much is based on whether this kid plays. You read. Anyway, I was able to get some look at Payne here. So I got like a couple snaps of big 44. He's a rotating guy. So you can take a look at 44 Payne, the transfer we're getting. Big body kid. So you see his pass rush there.
Is that all right technique, or is he a little high?
I mean, it's he's getting double teamed. It's tough. But when I look at him, Denny, when I look at him, I see it. If we can get this, I see this is a smart play by him. This is an influence play. They're pulling the guard away from him. Okay, this guard, his guard is pulling to his left. See how this guard is pulling? So yeah. That would make you think it's going this way. But he's a smart kid. He smells a rat. He smells a rat. He sees this guy is blocking him. Why is this guy blocking me? Yet this guy is pulling. And it looks like everything's going this way, right? But he plays it, and this tells me he's a smart kid. He sees that it's coming back this way. He doesn't make the play, but he's an aware, alert kid. So I like that. You can see he's not a burner, but when I watch his film, I think we might get what Hinton gave us a couple years ago. Big Hinton. What the heck was his first name?
Chris.
It was Chris Hinton. That was McDonald's year. This kid might give us that type of a player in there. He's not a burner, but if he can, we got to have a guy that can play the damn double team. He reads this. This is another play that shows me, this is an intelligent kid here. He's feeling, I always talk about screen. Why? And he reads it fairly quick. He sees the guy cross his face. These guys are crossing your face. They're not blocking you. And he gets right down the line of scrimmage fairly quick. You want to get right back here down the line of scrimmage. And he does a pretty good job with it. He doesn't make the play, but I see an intelligent kid. I see a big body. And if we can get Hinton, that's what I'm hoping. He's going to have a good 1 year for us. This is going to be crucial in this football game, Danny, because we got our two. We still don't know what's up with Kenny Grant, but no. Etta and Pierce. This offensive line is big, strong, and tough. Here's 4th and 1. Are we going to have a chance to stop these guys? LSU gets them stopped. They get a linebacker coming free. But they get, they don't get a whole lot of movement here. And this is where Pierce and Etta, those guys are going to be in the game. They're going to play actually tired, where they haven't had to play tired all year. So going to be kind of, warm down there. So anyway, that's crucial. And this Nussmeier kid, I'm surprised Kelly brought him back. We had his dad coached at Michigan. Anyway, Alabama is running stunts that we see. We run the same stunt. Here he is. This is our nickel package, and we do the same exact thing. Drop an edge, bring a backer. Not the fastest edge players like they had last year. We played some the kid that was one of the first players taken. Alabama doesn't have those kind of kids coming off the edge. Again, I just hope we don't see this quarterback. What's your gut feeling, Danny? You think he's going to play?
Yeah, I think he's going to play because I think that, Shedeur Sanders might be one, but it's not a slam dunk on any of these. When you start looking, you just look at the 15 analysts. They're all over the place on these quarterbacks. You got Nussmeier. Some of them have Nussmeier in the first round. A lot of them have Milroe. Pro Football Focus thinks Milroe's the number one quarterback.
I can totally see it, man. I can totally see John Harbaugh trading up. Does he want to have a guy and get him ready behind Lamar? Because this is a John Harbaugh system quarterback. He already has the whole system in. Anyway, here's 7-Up. This is something that we run some of this. Haven't seen it much in the Big Ten, but we got to be ready for it. 3rd and 11. They're going to, are they going to come after Davis Warren?
Yes.
Probably. We got to make them pay. Couple more plays, Denny. But, this is what we did a great job of last year. Defensively, this is what we did, man. We kept this guy contained. We had push up the middle, and we had edge players that were smart enough to contain. And this guy is hard to do this with. Mm. But we did it last year, and this is what LSU did a couple times, but not enough to get smart edge players. They're going to have Alabama will have real athletes on the receiver position, tight ends that can block and catch, and serious athletes. And they don't read this thing here. LSU doesn't read it. You got to read the blocks. We run a similar play, but they will, they will have guys that can run and catch. What else do I have here? 15 again. Here's 15. I'm hoping this is the guy we get. His name. What the hell is his name? His name is Ty Simpson. So he's that's old Ty handing the ball off. Yeah, so that's that, Denny. I just think if he's such a high pick, I don't know. If I'm his agent, why the hell would you play? You've got great film, man.
Well, Keegan's saying, he did say that he was going to play in the bowl. Scar says he doesn't think so. And Scar's saying that, if he's his agent, why is he, playing? Right. And the idea is that he plays great. You can't say for sure he's a top 10 guy right now, but, it tells me if I'm an NFL GM and I see this kid wants to go out there and could say, look, I'm not just, saying, hey, here's my film. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to keep competing. I'm going to throw at pro day. I'm going to go to Indy. And I'm going to run.
Good point, Danny. Those are good points. Yeah, it's good. Those are good points. He cares about his team. He cares about the guys he came in with, the other seniors he came in with. Those are great points. And there's a lot of general managers and coaches that like that. And then, but there's a lot of agents, that you got, that they see it differently. So, right. We'll see what happens. But Denny, it's a good week for Michigan, man. This is a good day to get this kid. Our quarterback room is set. I wonder what Davis Warren is going to do now, though. That's going to be an interesting question. Will Davis Warren have the opportunity to jump in the portal? Does he want to just say, okay, I'm going to compete too, Because, that's what Sharon Moore would have said to him. He would have said, look, man, he's going to, Chip is going to have his quarterback room. He's going to hey, man, you don't want to compete, hit the road. Davis Warren has got starts under his belt. Underwood's the 5-star kid everybody wanted. Keene has got 24 starts, and it's going to be every day matters, man. Go out there and compete and let it rip, man.
Jaden Davis, a little bit of a wild card. I like
Jaden Davis is, he's in the mix too, man. So
right.
That's the mentality that Michigan has. It's Jim used that word all the time, man. It's a meritocracy, baby. You got to come in every day and battle and compete, and if you don't like it, roll down on Washington Avenue, go over there to Eastern Michigan, baby.
Well,
they might give you a position over there.
Well, it's so wild. I mean, Davis could compete in the bowl. He could play in the bowl. He could go in the spring to see what he thinks, and then he could peace out. And he could hit the portal during spring if he wants. I mean, and then Michigan could go back into the portal if that ended up happening.
Yeah, see, that's what you don't want. See, if I'm Sharon Moore, I would want to try to size that up as quick as possible because I don't want to give reps to Davis Warren if he's going to get in the portal at the end of the spring. You're better off giving your reps to your other three guys.
Well, that's it.
Jaden Davis and Keene. But I'm just keeping it real with you, Denny. That's keeping it real as a coach because I've coached where I had so many damn kids. You got to give reps to guys, and it screws your top two, your first and second team guys. You got to get them ready for the game, and you can't give a lot of reps to your third and fourth string guys. So that's something that if I'm him in that position, I don't want to hear that. I'd rather go into the opening next year with those four guys.
I got one more question for you, Scar.
Because Keene will be gone, Davis Warren will be gone, and now we got two good ones. See, that's what I would like is to have our quarterback room set with those four guys. That's a good future. That's a good look right there.
Here's my question to you, Scar. They do have Chip Lindsey. He's involved now as the offensive coordinator. Maybe he's going to be the quarterback coach as well. But last year, and everybody could just say, well, Kirk Campbell blew it or whatever else. Sharon Moore ultimately blew it too with the quarterback room. They had some type of faith that Alex Orji was going to progress in the offseason. I don't know what they thought of Denegal. I mean, they talked about him. Obviously, Davis Warren, they felt like Tuttle was going to come back 100%, whatever. And then it all went sideways. But my question is, however they went through the practices, how much they hit, the paces that they were putting them through to evaluate the quarterbacks, from me just sitting back here looking at it, I'd say, man, you guys blew it. How could you really think that Alex Orji could play quarterback at Michigan? So my question here is, how much have they changed the system of things that they're doing to evaluating players and figuring out specifically, yeah, and the whole thing. You could good point. You could do the entire team that way because there was a lot of different things with.
Well, Danny, that's one of the problems I have with a lot of the way they do things. I would have liked to have Jaden Davis especially at the damn running back position, like. We're all kind of pounding. I've been kind of pounding the table that we need a running back, but we may not need a running back. Ben Hall might be ready to go, and Marshall might be ready to go. But the problem is they haven't had a lot of reps. They haven't had a lot of game reps. But we might be better off staying out of the damn portal at running back. I don't know. It's the same thing at quarterback. These guys don't play guys much. You don't get the opportunity sometimes. That's a problem. That's when I was coaching and we had our great teams, and we were able to blow people out, 6, maybe 5-6 games a year. You get able to play your whole, a lot of guys. That's when you really get things going because you can develop guys, and what the hell you got. You don't have to wait on guessing. You know what I mean? Because they have a lot of game reps. So I just think, Denny, I think our coaches, look, it last year is what it is, but I think, we brought in some good players now. We got a kid that started 24 games. We got a kid that started 8 games at Michigan. We got the number 1 quarterback in the country. I mean, people should feel good about the competition in that room. And I don't know what the hell. I honestly don't know who the hell is going to be starting against Oklahoma. I don't even know. But I know that the coaches have good problems because we have depth. We got answers. We're going to go to Oklahoma with a better room.
I just wonder if let's say FanDuel calls up and says, "Hey, Scar, we need you to handicap who's going to be the starter for Oklahoma. Would you put Underwood you'd put Davis Warren as the favorite? Mikey Keene sounds like you would put him as the favorite."
I'd probably go 60 Keene, and then 2020 for the other two guys. That would be my guess.
Underwood and Davis Warren and Underwood 20 and
yeah. Okay, here's a question. The bowl game is important on many levels. Getting the young guys playing time while starters get the chance to improve. I know, but David, you got to remember, man, if you and I are out there playing and we're seniors, we want to win the damn football game. I ain't worried about next year if I'm a senior. Now, the coach has to decide that, and if I was coaching, I'm going to do everything for my seniors, the guys that are going to, like Bredesen, right? Or some of these guys like Bredesen and, guys are going to play their last football game. You think they want to be treated like a scrimmage? Hell no. They want to come out of there beating Alabama because that's the last time they put the winged helmet on, and they want to have a good memory. They don't want to be thinking about, 2025. I'm just telling you, if I'm playing in that game, I don't want to hear about next year, my last football game. Mm-hmm. Coach has to make that decision, and I think that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a coach that's going to do everything he can to win, and the guys that are in the game are going to be guys that he feels are the best players to help us win that day, not next year.
You make good points, Scar. I'm not arguing. I'm just listening. I'm soaking up the knowledge. Hey,
and that's what I would ask all of our listeners is to put yourself in that senior's position who's going to play his last football game and ask, what would you want if you're that guy?
All right.
What decisions would you want from the coaches? Scar,
all right, Danny. Holidays, Merry Christmas. Tell everybody so long.
All right, Danny. Go blue, baby.
There he is, Jim Scarcelli. Happy holidays.